Welcome to the update video for Cities of Wonder 3. This is the update for Steps of the Con. It makes some massive changes to how Cities of Wonder is working under the hood that I want to show you all. And we're going to jump right in. First up is our new game rules. We have 3 game rules for this new version that allow quite a bit of flexibility. There could be new game rules in the future. We will go over that if that happens. I'll release updates. But for now, let's look at the new game rules. So our new game rules, there were 3. First is historical metropolises. This is an existing game rule. So this just as, do you want to start with all of the 28 bigger cities at this time already set up as metropolises? So that's Rome, Constantinople, London, Paris, others, which gives them the benefits and the graphics. Second is the graphics. So this has always been a request. I don't think a lot of people used the com patch, but because of how we've changed things under the hood, which we'll get into in a second, we can now have this in the base mod where if you only want the graphics and you don't want any of the extra changes and modifiers that come with being a City of Wonder, then you can just turn this on graphics only and you'll get the graphics, but you won't get any of the modifiers and bonuses if you want to play with base game functionality. And if this is on full functionality, then you can say allow Burge, yes. If this is on graphics only, you will not get access to this decision, because why would you need to be creating a City of Wonder separately from base game function, from the base mod functionality, if you aren't getting any of the additional functionality? It's just the graphics. If this is on graphics only or full functionality, then if it's on full functionality, then you can set this to no. And what would happen is cities will only become burges by normal development growth. And we'll get into normal development growth in a second. If you have it on yes, then there will still be the decision to found a burge. All right, so those are our game. We're gonna say full functionality, just to get everything out of the gate. And let's go ahead and start as Charles the Bald. All right, as Charles the Bald, ruling Paris. When we start the game, we will now start as a Mighty Burge. I'll explain this window in a second. And we have the graphics, which we can see here of Paris, and we have our event to pick our starting building. I'm going to go ahead and pick the walls. So if I pick, and you can see it'll say it'll add great walls. That's great. So let's go ahead and pick great walls. Actually, before I do that, let me explain something really fast. These buildings, while they're the same buildings that we had before, have been updated. They have all had their modifiers changed to match existing special buildings. This is important because buildings like Constantinople, Rome, have these special buildings that others can't get. And instead of having buildings, which is what we had before, that had their own modifiers that didn't match in game and could affect balance, these have been rebalanced. So the Great University is the generic university special building. The library is the generic library. The cathedrals, and this is based on religion. So if you're Muslim, you'd get the mosque. If you're a pagan, you would get the temple, etc. Those are based on the generic special buildings available. The palaces, the markets, the walls, the fortresses, and the amphitheater / Colosseum are all based on other special buildings in game that are like those that are in special cities. So this is just to add balance and to make it where if you're building a City of Wonder, you're getting buildings very similar, if not exactly the same as other special cities. And that should maintain balance a lot better. I'm going to pick walls just to show, and you can see that we are Castle 2. When you become a City of Wonder, if you have a Castle 1, you'll now become a Castle 2. I know this is probably confusing people already because you're used to the castle level 5, 6, and 7. I will explain that as soon as I pick my walls. I'm going to do towering walls. I now have the great walls. We're used to seeing that. My development has went to 25, and I have a castle level 2. So why is this different? First of all, the way it was before, I was adding new levels to the castle, which you're probably used to seeing as like the 5, 6, and 7. We have removed that primarily for compatibility and updates. Anytime the game is updated, especially adding new lands, new cultures, anything like that, it would break the mod, because I'm basically editing a lot of base game functionality. By changing this so that a City of Wonder is a modifier on the province, this is something that allows us to do a lot of unique things. One, no changing of base files, which is really important for us because it means that we will be more compatible with other mods and the mod won't break as much for future changes. Two, it means that we can organically control this a lot better than basing it off of the castles and bypassing a lot of the functionality. Castles are tied to, specifically are tied to when you get certain innovations, and by bypassing that, it really unbalances the game. So now by leaving the castles alone, we are able to add modifiers that specifically only outline the fact that these are metropolises of economic scale. This is really important because development in Crusader Kings 3, can't even say the name of the game, is the entire simulation of population density, economy is right here in development. This is everything around economy, population density, and the ability to develop faster, have better technology is all wrapped up in your development. So this is what a City of Wonder is based on now. This does mean that if you are a starting city, you'll be at least a castle 2. I did do that because that makes sense, right? These cities would have a little bit bigger castles to help with the fort level. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But I also wanted to decouple it directly from the castle, which has much more to do with the security, right, of the holding, as well as things like walls and so forth. What I really wanted to do was tie a City of Wonder to being a very large population center, right? It's more about the city, not about the walls. So this allows us to do that. Second, we now have organic growth. And I'm going to show that in just a second. But we have a level 25, which gives us development, which gives us a Mighty Burge. This does mean that if I'm playing anyone in the game and I get my development above 25, that province will automatically naturally become a Burge. And that happens in January of every year. It looks and it sees, great, has anyone passed 25 that wasn't already a City of Wonder? They become a City of Wonder. And if I highlight on this and go up to the Burge, it'll bring up the City of Wonder tooltip, which says we become a Burge, then we become a metropolis, then we become a megalopolis. This happens at Metropolis happens at 50 development. Megalopolis happens at 75 development. So I'm going to go ahead and show that happening. So when we come back, this is going to be ticking. This is going to be at 50. We're going to be ticking over to January, and we're going to see the upgrade happen in real time. All right, so we can see that we're at a development of 53. We are still a Burge. It is January. Now what happens? So we're going to let it run and see what happens. Okay, so yeah, so we can see it's happened. So we have now upgraded to a thriving metropolis. So we upgrade automatically. You can see we stopped being a Burge and we become a thriving metropolis because our development is at 53, and we get a new building. This is really important. People have been asking for this to be able to build more of these buildings. In the future, I may add the ability to turn this on by game rule so you can build these whenever you want. But for now, I think this is a good balance where it says that we've upgraded. We are bigger, right? And this is a slightly different event, right? It says has grown. So it's a little different text. Because we already have the Great Walls, they do now not show up. Actually, they are showing up, but I will fix that. That is a small bug that is fixed in the latest that you'll be getting. Sorry, messing up my video here, but yes, this will be gone. That bug is already fixed. So now we can pick something else. So let's say we want the palace instead. So we pick the palace, and now we have a palace. Oh no, someone should do something. All right, so we have the palace, we have the wall. So you can see now as we grow, we can kind of decide how we want to grow. So I've picked the walls and then the palace, which gives me some more, a little bit more fort because of my palace. But if I would have picked something like the fortress, it would have given me even more fort size. So as I'm upgrading my castle, normally as the game goes on, as I'm adding other buildings, and then as I'm picking my special buildings, I can really decide how I want this to work. So that shows you the organic nature of the growth. I will say that now our development is going down because of the plague. If this was to go below 50, I don't have currently a degrading factor. That is something I want to do in the future, though, especially once All Under Heaven comes out. But I think it will be important eventually to add that because of for even cons, because of the ability to lower development. Currently, it's not going to get rid of anything. How that will handle in the future is I want it. So let's say you're a thriving metropolis. Well, if you dropped back under 50, this should probably be changed to like abandoned metropolis, right? Or struggling metropolis instead of thriving. And then if you got back above 50, it would switch you back to being a thriving metropolis. This is, I think this will be a really important change because we know this happened to Rome throughout history where it would get sacked, people would leave, and it would struggle and it would be cannibalized. And then it would kind of have a lot of money put into it and it would regrow. So that is an upcoming feature, but it won't be part of this initial release. So as far as the outline goes, I've outlined in all of the burges, metropolises, and megalopolises. So all the cities of wonder will have purple around the province. You can see it's not around the other provinces. It will have the little modifier, and then additionally, it'll have this little icon. And of course, you have the on-map graphics, and you have the ability to show all cities of wonder, which will highlight them on the map. Now, because you can see the decision found a city of wonder, but it says your capital must have an open building slot and is not already a city of wonder. Well, it's already a city of wonder, so that doesn't apply to us. Let's go ahead and switch characters. We'll just go up here to this guy, and we can see that in his county, he is a Castle 1 and not a metropolis. So let's go ahead and make him upgrade him to a metropolis, or sorry, a burge. So City of Wonder. Let's go ahead. So as this Duke character of Le Mans, we will go and we will say found a city. This is going to give us the Burj Foundation building. So we're going to say start the project. We gain the Burj Foundations. We can see this goes up to level 2. At the point of level 2, we will become a City of Wonder. You can see that this costs 3,800 gold. It's very expensive. It's actually 4,000 base. This is how we get up to being how we can bypass having to raise development if we're doing a different type of playthrough. Again, this decision can be turned off, right? That's important to remember. So let's go ahead and say upgrade. I have instant on, so this will happen very quickly. But there we go. It upgrades. We get the graphics. We go to castle level 2. We go to 25 development. We have the outline, and we are Mighty Burj. And we're going to pick a university. So there we go. So we're now known as the Scholar because we founded a university. So we have a regional university. Very nice. And our building didn't go away, but I will fix that. That is fixed. That's just a weird lingering bug as well. But that is fixed in the latest version. So we will now, this will go away and we will have a building slot for it. So that's also a bonus as you get the building slot, but that will go away. Like I said, that has been fixed. So this is how we upgrade. So naturally, now, if we were to get to development above 50, this would naturally grow into the next level and you could get more buildings. So this is the biggest changes to the mod. That does mean that we've removed a couple of things. So we've removed the ability to see those extra buildings, right? Where it was like at, I think, hospitals and tunnels. They've added so many buildings since then, and managing that has become harder to do. I will look at that in the future, but they're always adding more buildings. It's really hard to keep that stuff balanced. And there's a lot of mods that add more buildings. So I kind of like want to allow those mods to do their thing. I think I pointed this out, but I do want to show that like if you have medieval art, I don't think I said this. If you have medieval arts installed, which you should, it is amazing. And it adds a lot of great models. Not right. I mean, just right here, look at this. It adds Mount Olympus, right? That's awesome. It adds so many cool buildings that if you have medieval arts installed, Cities of 1 or 3 will automatically work with it. There's nothing you have to do. I mean, look at this. There's like this, like, I mean, just so many great, the ruins of Paestum, so many great buildings that it adds. I mean, we have here the Palace of Eretus, just so many amazing things. And if it's a situation where they have a model where medieval arts has added something like Rome, I will automatically default to their models. There's nothing you have to do as far as compatibility goes. So looking at this, I do want to say one more thing. So looking at this thriving metropolis, and it has all of these bonuses. If you want the graphics, but you don't want to deal with the balancing and have all of these things, and you don't want these extra buildings, then just switch over the game rule to graphics only, and you will still get the starting buildings. They will still organically grow. So at levels 25, 50, and 75, people will upgrade to having it say a mighty burge, a thriving metropolis, and then a megalopolis, but they will have absolutely no bonuses, and there will be no event to add special buildings. So if you only want the graphics, that is an option now, and you won't have to deal with any of the additional modifiers if you don't want them. So hopefully more people will be able to play who don't want that being affected. Some other changes, that does mean that we no longer have sprawl. Sprawl just was affecting, one, the updating of it is very hard, especially with the adding of new cultures. It was creating a lot of bugs that I just don't have time to fix or create new models for right now. And also the next step, so this, by removing sprawl, we did help with performance quite a bit. This does mean that there's no like the level 5, 6, 7 castles in those new models. That was like 80 something models that I created, so I'm a little sad to have lost that time. But you know, I got a lot of enjoyment from it. I think others did too, so I'm okay with that. But just this different approach, we don't need those anymore. What I am looking at doing, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this, I am going to implement my own sprawl. And it's going to be based on how many buildings you have. So I've been playing around with this. This would have just delayed the release for a very long time. So this will probably come with All Under Heaven, though I may do incremental releases. We'll see how it goes. But as you see here, there is space inside this wall. But that's only because the castle's small. If this was an upgraded castle, there wouldn't be any space inside for more buildings. But what I want to do is, and you can also see as I zoom out, right? Like, I think you can still see a lot of times. Yeah, you can still see right here, you can see the outline of the model. That's because there's something called LOD, and LOD basically makes things disappear. So if we go in, we see this one disappears, but this one doesn't. That does affect, unfortunately, performance. With what I've done, removing sprawl, that's going to be a lot better, because there's just 28 of these. So that's not a huge amount to put on the engine, but it does have some effect. And so what I'm currently doing is the buildings themselves, right? The larger cities are going to be reworked, one, so that they look different between a burge, a metropolis, and a megalopolis, for one, so that we'll see the cities growing. But two, like I was saying, I want there to be some sprawl. So based on how many buildings there are. So that every time you build, you see your city grow a little bit with every new building. And I kind of want that to be across the board, even with metropolises. So I'm still working on that, figuring out how to do it so it looks good and doesn't overload the map. So that'll come in the future, be looking for that. But for now, I think it's pretty good just having the models still and having the ability to have these modifiers is going to give us a lot of flexibility moving forward. So that is the changes. It should still be a lot of what you're used to as far as the graphics and having your bonuses. The bonuses will be slightly different. I do think that will provide more flexibility, because from what I understood, most people just always pick the same building because they were so unbalanced. So now that they're more balanced, it should lead more to kind of having a playthrough, and also gives you something to do, right? It gives you something, even more goals for your development. So this is the new update. It is out now, and I hope you enjoy it. Come to the Discord and give feedback. Links in the description. And I'm definitely looking for feedback. We can tweak. I'm open to do beta testing, to putting out a beta as I make changes with different stuff. If people are interested in that, just come to the Discord and give your feedback. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the update.